Welcome to another Facerocker Podcast. I'm Des Dolly. Got my co-host and podcast producer Benji Dolly here with us today.
Hello.
And we're joined by our good friends Jon Karmen, Jake Andrews, Ruby Dog Movies.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Hey dudes, how's it going?
Good.
I feel like you guys are flanking me from both sides right now.
Yeah, we're surrounding you.
Yeah, you are. What's new, guys?
Oh, nothing much. I mean, we came out with a ball pit.
Finally, the video that
Yep.
we've been pitching for 4 months now, it feels like, John?
Yeah.
How long has that been in gestation?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the idea was, God, I don't remember. We've had that idea forever, but then, yeah, in terms of actual writing and shooting and
Yeah.
editing, it's like 3 months.
Good God, man. How does it feel?
It feels great.
Yeah?
People seem to really like it.
People do.
Yeah, the
People love
reception's been good.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
There's very few comments being like, "This sucks." You know.
Which usually there's a lot. No
Yeah,
matter
you
what
feel like
you
there's
put
a
up,
lot of
there's
hate
always
on
a
the
lot,
internet.
It's the
usually.
internet. You're
Yeah.
going to get that.
Yeah.
I thought there'd be a lot more like, you know, fake and gays,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Oh,
But
thank
it's-
God that there isn't.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I was really pleasantly surprised.
I
that
feel like we've weeded most of those folks out.
they'll
you know?
never.
Yeah, Tiny
it's
Tank
like,
Warfare made sure
They're like
that.
cockroaches.
Yeah,
They're always,
well, that was my plan with that video. That was my full intention.
Oh, man. Yeah, so we had Ball Pick come out, and then we had 2 film school videos,
Yeah.
VFX, VGHS hit effect, and then pro tip from Senzaki, the king
Kevin
himself.
Senzaki, our sound mix extraordinaire. Yeah,
He could be the first like stand-up comedian that uses like.
That's his prop.
doing his bit while he's trying to record a clean
Maybe.
track.
That'd be interesting.
I don't know how well that would go over. That'd be
We'll
pretty
see.
fantastic if he
Yeah.
actually committed to that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna tank every take because this is my act, and people get mad at him, and it just fuels him. That's his thing.
He only performs on set
Yeah,
during
yeah.
the actual shoot.
Once they call, he has to wait till they call action. Quiet on the set, action. Actors start talking, and then Kevin cuts them off and goes into his bit. You just hear this guy telling weird sound-laden jokes from like 30 feet away. Like, what the hell? Kevin, you
I
can
love
have
that
Go
idea.
do that.
Yeah, Kev, that's
I'd like to give props to Kevin Senzas because he honestly is a comedian,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
with sound. Like the sound design he did on Ball Pit
Yeah.
added so many like little jokes and stuff to it that just he just punched up so many moments. So
Yeah.
I want to give props to Kevin Senzaki. He's
Man,
incredible.
not enough props can be given to that guy. He truly is something special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he does it all.
We're blowing you kisses, Senzaki.
Yeah.
You're our main man. The thing we're here to really dig in today, well, the only thing that we have been talking about all weekend is Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
Mad Max happened.
I mean, there's no words. I mean, it was the greatest thing ever. What more can you say?
So that's it for today's podcast.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Mad Max Fury Road,
Yeah.
totally rad movie.
See you
Other
next
than that,
time,
no
yeah.
other words.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, that's kind of how I feel about the whole thing.
yeah, what can you say? Remember that scene? That was great. And then that was like, it was all great.
Yeah. Well, we'll dig into Mad Max in just a second and spend the majority of the show trying to articulate our myriad of feelings on the subject. But other than that, I wanted to ask you guys, what else are you watching right now?
Well, I gotta give props to. This is just general shows that we're watching on TV.
I'm just curious. Yeah,
Yeah,
like what else do you
what
guys
happened?
do with your time when you're not? Now that you're done with Ball Pit, you've had a chance to go home and catch up on some TV, doing a little binge watching.
Okay.
I
Well,
feel like you guys, you're our
well,
go-tos.
aside from like the obvious, I mean, Mad Men.
Yeah.
Brilliant ending. What more can you say
Amazing.
on that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
That's
my
big
heart.
news, right? Mad Men finale.
Yeah. Game of Thrones. Always pushing the envelope with the.
I
sex
know
and
the
violence.
Stone Men.
Stone Men.
That pissed everyone off. Those stone men.
See, I don't know. Feel
Yeah.
free to spoil anything you guys want. but
They're catching a lot of heat for the Stone
I'm 2
Men.
seasons behind on both.
Oh, you're
of these
2
shows.
seasons.
Well, there was
both.
there was a very disturbing rape scene.
Oh, another one.
Yeah, another
And-
one.
yeah.
Yes,
It
and
always happens.
It was one rape scene too many. It just people are really, and it wasn't. It was one of the weaker episodes of the season too.
Yeah.
But just as not even including that final horrific scene. But
Yeah.
it was one of the sloppier episodes I think ever.
Oh,
Yeah, well,
that's-
every time they do stuff in the desert in that show, the quality just goes down like. It becomes like it feels like someone online said it becomes like Xena, Warrior Princess quality when there's anytime it's like whatever unit they're shooting in the desert, you guys stink. Okay, just saying it for the record. You guys
Shots
stink.
fired.
You've
Yeah,
been
right?
called
You don't know
out.
how to
my
film
God.
sword fights.
John.
It's sloppy Joe.
John just went so hard.
Sloppy
Shout out one of
Joe.
the
John
biggest
just went
shows
so
of
hard.
Jon
all time.
Karmen's thoughts are his and his alone, and
Yeah.
not reflected
Going
by
hard.
the producers of the Facerocker podcast.
Freddie agrees with me. No, that's not true. Freddie's on my side.
Whoa.
If he
Okay,
was
well,
here,
I
he would be backing me up.
Yeah. I don't know. It's.
I know what you're
it
saying.
shows okay.
Those segments look like they're shot on a budget compared to everything in.
Yeah, even going back, remember when she
Westeros.
was in Karth? And it was just so lame. Like, remember it was like they were building up the what was that, like the House of the Undying or whatever. And it's like, oh my god, it's gonna be so crazy when she goes in there, and then she just goes in there, and it was just like whatever.
It's too dark. Those scenes when she's in this, when the little one Arya's doing to become no one. I can't see anything.
Learning to
Is it
become
just
no
me?
one. I don't know what you
Oh, yeah,
guys
you're
are
missing
talking
I
about.
Yeah.
can't see. I can't see anything.
Did
It's
the
too damn
dragon
dark.
eggs? The dragon eggs hatched, right?
You're
Yeah.
that far behind.
Yeah, dude. They hatch.
dragons.
They hatch,
Okay.
and then you don't get to see them.
you're screwing with it. You know.
One of them's on a
No,
road trip. One
I
of the
saw-
dragons took off for a road trip.
I remember last I saw dragons. They were baby dragons. Yeah.
Oh well, they're full grown and they're pissed.
Why are they pissed?
Because the
they're
mom's
drag-
like not raising them right.
Yeah.
Put two of them
They're
into
There's.
a,
drag-
I
into a
should just
dungeon.
watch this.
They're
Should I watch
dragon.
this?
No, it's good.
It's good. No, it's a great show.
It's like-
I love Game
it's-
of Thrones.
Is
It's
it worth the money? I mean, this is the most expensive show on TV, right? Is it worth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
no,
put
it's
like $12 million in each episode. Is it worth that kind of money?
It's
looks great.
pulpy. It's pulpy,
For the most
stupid,
Except
like
for
just
horrible desert scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They bungle everything. Yeah.
It's pure pulp. It's not. I don't take it. I don't watch it like I do Mad Men, where I'm like, this is every frame of this is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's more just like, oh, like I wonder what crazy crap am I gonna see this week? You know, because they do try to do it on a scale bigger than. It's like it's you know what I mean. It's like Lord of the Rings or whatever. Like, I mean, not that Lord of the Rings
Well,
is way
that's
better
I mean
than
that's
that.
pretty epic.
That's way, but just in terms of like, no one else is doing something of that scale
Sure.
on TV.
Oh, all right. I guess I'll have to check that out. I'll put
should
it on
The
my.
Mad Men finale though was superb.
God,
Yeah,
I
brilliant.
watched 3 or 4 seasons of Mad Men, and I feel like I would have to start at the beginning because I don't quite remember everything
Yeah,
that
you
happened.
should start from. if you're
Yeah,
gonna
it's,
watch it
it's
again.
very
Yeah,
full
so
Yeah,
circle.
that'll-
it's very thick.
That'll happen in a year or 2, or I don't know. That's a lot of TV to watch.
It's
You
just
got a
so
company
good.
to run, man. I don't know if you're ever gonna be able to watch it.
I don't know. The one thing I've been finding time for is Silicon Valley.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so good. The
Every
last
Sunday?
episode was great.
Yeah, we've
As
mentioned that
always.
before. That show is kind of like this strange sneak peek into how things have been going around here
Yeah.
over the last 6 months. you
Yeah.
know? Trying to get financing and looking for an office and all the same problems we have. It's pretty interesting. We're not quite as funny as Ehrlich and the gang.
No. That
That's good
that
stuff.
show's fantastic. I can't get enough of it.
HBO's on fire.
Yeah.
When are they not on fire?
And they're
Have they ever not been on
documentaries.
fire? Have they ever
Yeah.
not been on fire? But I feel like right now they're
Well,
really
they're fucking
rolling.
scorching.
Yeah,
Red hot, baby.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, you're right.
But
Their docs are.
They got
their
the new-
their documentary, the Kurt Cobain doc,
Yeah.
was amazing. The Grim Sleeper. Have you heard about the serial killer in South Central Los Angeles who killed over they estimate he killed like over 100 black prostitutes.
Oh my gosh.
And just no one really gave a shit. It's crazy. It's really
Because
good.
of their socioeconomic status.
Yeah, it has to do with how they don't trust the police, and it's ingrained in them to not go to them for help because they've seen it their whole lives. Like the cops they don't help them. They just
Oh my god, that's awful.
abuse them, and it's
I'll have to check that out.
yeah.
Their docs are always good.
Jesus. Man, yeah, too much. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of good stuff on TV.
There's a lot, but you'll never catch up. That's one thing I'm finding now. I mean, I've found it for a while,
Your
but
bubba's leaking.
the older they get,
Let it drip.
you're just not gonna catch. You have to just accept that everything you want to see, you're not gonna see. There's just not enough.
Is that
time.
how you feel?
Yeah. There's just not enough time.
Jeez.
Much like life. you
That's
know?
dark, man.
It's not enough
Yeah.
time.
Just not going to do it, so why even bother?
Yeah.
What are we even doing here?
Well, I mean, I didn't go that far. I
Well,
was
that's-
just talking
well,
about the shows I like to watch
You
usually. I just don't
dipped
have
your
enough
toe in
time.
the deep end, sir.
You know, like Raw, I can't afford 3 hours anymore every Monday. 3 hours? How am I going to get 3 hours each Monday?
I love it. John,
It
you were
can't-
out of the room getting water.
can't
You
happen.
missed this, but Benji started talking about Raw, and Jake just looked at him and went, that was total gibberish. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
You just spoke
These 3
nonsense
hours is a
for 10
lot,
seconds
man.
straight.
I can't do 3 hours anymore. You're killing me, game. Triple A, wait, 3 hours?
It's 3 hours of mediocre content.
Yeah,
You
it
can
really
do
is.
you can do 30 minutes of rock solid badass stuff, but
Yeah,
they
they
choose
got an
to
hour.
do-
The hour they do on their network, the hour that the show they have that's only an hour long. That's like the best thing going right now, pro wrestling wise. It's great. 1 hour is perfect.
Yeah.
It's all the time you can get.
All
It's
right.
great.
Well,
I gotta say,
Yeah.
I just finished listening. Benji, I don't even think you've heard this. CM Punk did this epic 2-hour tell-all podcast on with Colt
With Colt
Cabana,
Yeah, the art of wrestling.
and it's riveting. I don't even know anything or even watch wrestling really, and it's riveting to hear how it really works. Because CM Punk just does not care anymore. He's just
No, he
He's
doesn't.
just telling and like.
And he's
whole-
always been the.
well,
kind
he's
of guy
not
to say
he's
whatever
not
he
bound by
wants.
NDA
Yeah.
or anything like that anymore,
Nope,
right? So he
nothing.
can say
Yeah.
no. Yeah.
All the stipulations from his contract all ran out and everything. So he
That
can
sounds
say whatever
interesting.
he
Yeah,
wants.
no, it's really fascinating to hear how it really works, and it's they say wrestling's fake, but like, dude, it's dangerous. Like what he and
Well, it's fiction, right? The story of wrestling is fiction, but even only to a certain extent. And I think what you're talking about is that podcast digs into what was echoed on that Radiolab episode from a month or so back. It talks about how the real world politics and the goings on behind the scenes plays into their storylines,
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, it ends up with people who are sometimes, often really pissed off at each other, jump into a ring and then beat the tar out of one another.
yeah, but it's just like Punk was just by the end of his run, he was so beat up.
Yeah.
And they just were, and like the doctor, it's not like the doctors that they had on staff were just like really lazy and inefficient. And he was like working for like weeks with a staph infection.
Yeah.
And he finally just told like McMahon, like, I quit, I can't do this anymore. And he finally went to like see like a real doctor that wasn't like a WWE one. And he's like, dude, you have a full blown staph infection. Like you could have died if you had waited any longer to go to like an actual doctor. So
And they have like over 320 dates a year. They have to, and that's whose name is on the marquee. That's who the tickets are for. You got to
Yeah.
be there. You
You
can't
just show
not
up.
Show up. You have to.
Didn't that guy died because he kept wrestling with a broken neck a few weeks back?
Well, he didn't keep wrestling with a broken neck. He just actually he just landed on the ropes wrong. He was doing a spot where he lands on like the middle rope, like right on his chest. And he's a son of like 3rd generation wrestler. He's one of Mexico's biggest stars.
Yeah.
And he just landed wrong, and his neck just snapped from the whiplash. He just landed incorrectly and just.
Are you ever worried about that happening to you when you're out there
I
doing
never
your...
thought about it once. I did 3 pro wrestling matches in my life, and the 3rd one, I let a guy do a pile driver on me. Even the WWE has outlawed the pile driver. Like, it's so dangerous.
They don't do that anymore?
No. Only The Undertaker is the only guy allowed to do it, and he only wrestles once a year. No one else is allowed to do it. And I let this guy do it to me. It was like my
Some
first ever like
goof.
actual match. And I was like, yeah, all right. He's like, put me up in a driver.
Use
Go
this
for it.
totally unsafe and illegal move on me.
Yeah,
I don't
like-
care. I
like
don't know you or
The most
trust you.
professional and biggest league in the world doesn't allow this because it's too dangerous. But yeah, you can do it to me at this AAA ball.
How do you
stadium.
feel
Like,
about
hey,
that now? Do you feel like you dodged a bullet?
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you do it again?
Nope. No.
Really?
No. I would
But
not do it
you'll
again.
go through a table again, right?
Oh, I can't wait till I go.
I mean,
through
we don't
another
want to
table.
spoil any of the what's coming up on this Hulu show we're doing, the new shorts show. But,
Yeah, that's
but
another
there
thing
is,
that's happening.
but
We
there's
just started
rumblings that
shooting.
you may go through another table or
Yeah,
two.
I hope so. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I can get my Mick Foley
Can't
on.
say too much. Other than that is filming right now. We were
Yep.
at set yesterday, and we'll be going back tomorrow morning. And you're filming in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, I start on Monday.
Yeah. I'm prepping for the segment I'm directing right now, which is complete and utter madness.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, we gotta get you guys involved too. Do we get you guys cast in there?
No,
somebody-
no one gave me a role.
Somebody fucked that up.
I'm livid.
Yeah.
So is John, because he wanted to get back on the stage.
Yeah.
John's been dying to
John's
get
like,
back
no,
in
no,
front
no,
of the
no,
camera.
no.
Well, I mean, we got this week's coming out now regularly, right?
You guys are a
In
little
the near
busy.
future.
Yeah.
They're gonna come out more readily.
Yeah.
Yep, just saw the cut for the one you guys are cooking up right now. That comes out on Thursday, right?
Yep.
That's the plan.
Yeah. A lot of them are going to be more bite-sized now, and then like every once in a while we'll do like a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ball pit size big.
Well, we
we'll
just
never-
Every time they'll be
not that big. That's
Promise.
that's
That
as
was
big as it
insane.
gets. But the one we just read, we just did a script read through.
Yeah.
You guys are developing right now is pretty epic. It's a follow up to one of your classics, but
Yeah. We can't
don't-
say
don't
anymore
wanna
right
say
now.
anything.
Nothing's
Yeah, we already
official
said too
yet.
much.
Yeah.
Well,
There's so many
Oh, no.
fans that are going to be
So
buzzing
many.
and speculating.
oh, I know.
Yeah.
The commenters are a buzz right now.
They're in a tizzy.
Yeah, they are. Well, let's take a quick break and talk about our new podcast sponsor, and then when we come back, let's just talk about
We gotta talk about
Mad Max.
Yeah.
The reason why we're here today.
Crucial.
Our whole my new reason for living.
I was
It's
just
just
gonna say,
this
reason why
watch
we're here
Mad
today,
Max
like,
again.
just the reason
Yeah.
why we're here every day.
Yeah,
from
the
here on
end all
out.
be all. All right, so we're going to dig into Mad Max after this. Hey, everybody, we're going to take a quick break to tell you about one of the Facerocker Podcast sponsors, Squarespace. Building a website can be tough. And even if you do know your way around coding, creating something that looks good and works well is a time-consuming affair. Whether it's for a business site, a portfolio, a restaurant, or whatever else, in this day and age, you probably need one anyway. Well, lucky for you, Squarespace makes it easy to build websites without breaking a sweat. Squarespace provides simple, powerful, and a beautiful website that looks professionally designed regardless of skill level, no coding required. Not only does Squarespace provide you with intuitive and easy-to-use tools to create your website with, Squarespace also has state-of-the-art technology powering your site to ensure security and stability. And you know you can trust in Squarespace for your website needs when millions of people and some of the most respected brands in the world trust in them too. Seriously, you can't beat the ease and simplicity of Squarespace. Squarespace gives you 24/7 online support and a beautiful website for only $8 a month. That's right, you heard me, only $8 a month. You can even get a free domain if you buy Squarespace for the year. So what are you waiting for? Start a trial with no credit card required and start building your website today. When you decide to sign up for Squarespace, make sure to use the offer code FACEROCKER to get 10% off your first purchase and to show your support for the Facerocker Podcast. That's Facerocker, Facerocker. We want to thank Squarespace for their support of the podcast. Squarespace, build it beautiful. And we're back.
Here we are.
Yeah, it was a really long break.
So, best movie ever made? Are we going that far?
It's
Or
one
is
of the
it-
it's one of the greatest action films ever made.
Do you get, yeah.
Do we feel like it's just because it?
Dude, you just called your shot hard. And
You guys have all
I don't disagree.
You've seen it multiple times, right?
I've seen it
Already?
twice
Okay,
now.
you've all seen it
So-
twice already, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I've only been once, but I
Mad
can't wait. I'm
Max,
gonna go sometime this
Fury
week.
Road, the new George Miller written and directed film, also produced by him and so-and-so Kennedy. Gosh, I don't quite know. It's Miller Kennedy production. The fourth entry in the series. It's definitely a sequel. I don't know if you could technically consider it a reboot.
Well, he had a likeness. Miller said it was like James Bond, kind of how it.
It's just
You can cast a new
another.
guy, but
it's
it's-
another entry in this
Still
series.
embodies that same
There's
spirit.
exactly. There's an argument to be made that it could fit in between a couple of the previous films that happened chronologically, but it's definitely the same character. I know there were some rumors that it was the feral boy from Road Warrior that grew up to be the Max in this film, which I completely disagreed with. And then Miller came out and squashed that anyway. So definitely just Max Rocketansky living in the post-apocalyptic wastes, kicking ass.
Yeah, it's honestly like, and I mean, I'm saying as someone who like grew up with Road Warrior and loves that movie, like this movie just blew the other ones out of the water. You know, this is the only Mad Max movie.
Would you
now.
guys consider yourselves Mad Max fans? You know, like
Yeah.
Now I would. Like
Now
I
you would.
liked them, but I
Did
wasn't.
you guys
like,
watch the movies as kids?
I only grew up with Road Warrior. I went and watched Mad Max the first time, which I liked.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen Beyond Thunderdome, but the consensus seems to be that's like a pretty bad movie. And Miller himself even admits that he was kind of checked out for that one.
That came at a weird time. And it was the second sequel of a series, and he had a bigger budget, and he was busy working with Spielberg on things. I think he had just come off the Twilight Zone movie, and he was sort of moving on. And I wonder if it's one of those things where he wanted to do Max, but the scenario had changed, the stakes had changed.
Well, apparently
Mel
his
Gibson was turning
his
into a
producing
huge movie star.
His producing partner had died right before they were
that's
supposed to start
right.
shooting, and so I think like they had to bring in someone to just like co-direct with him.
He had a
and so
co-director,
all of those, the majority of the movie takes place inside these like dim. It's not like the cool bright desert landscape. It's these like dim indoor weird cage matchy things with like they're on bungee cords in one scene, and it just feels. And his hair is like way.
He's got the long hair.
Yeah,
He's
it's
got a
way
bit
out
of a
of
different
control.
look.
Yeah, it's like a mullet.
That's the
Yeah.
one we grew up with. as kids, that was the one that was getting constant play on
Yep.
Yeah.
TBS, I think. You know, it was on cable
Yeah.
all the time.
They were,
and-
they were trying to make it more family friendly. It felt like.
yeah,
too.
you know, years ago, if you were to ask me what I knew of Mad Max, I would just be pitching you the Max I knew from Beyond Thunderdome.
Yeah.
You know, and then MTV and all that. I feel like everything ripped that look off for some time, and it wasn't until years later. I think it was when I was in film school. It might have even been Matt said I needed to go back and watch Road Warrior and saw it
Yeah.
for the first time, and then it wasn't until recently I saw the original Mad Max. So I saw them in backwards order. What about you guys?
For me, it was like my dad, in early age, showed me Road Warrior, and
Your dad's a
that,
fan?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was definitely just in terms of like pure great action movies. You know, they're just like nuts. That's definitely
Was that one of
a
your favorites?
signpost.
Yeah.
Growing up, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, but now
Same
yeah.
for me. My
Yeah.
dad showed me at a young age.
Really?
It was our male bonding experience.
Yeah.
Instead of going out into the woods, we
Really?
We watched
That was
that.
Indiana
That's pretty
Jones
awesome.
for me.
yeah, Indiana Jones. Yeah, that's
Temple
that's
of Doom.
another one.
My
yeah.
dad showed me Temple of Doom, and he's like, "Hey, I got something for you." That and then The Thing.
That's awesome.
He was like,
So puts it there in
yeah.
the
Then the
chest.
sun went down, and Mom went to sleep, and he's like, "I got one more to show you." And then I had nightmares forever. I've never been the same.
Yeah.
You schooled me on Max when I moved out here. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that was when it was about 5 years
"All right,
ago.
gotta
I
show it," yeah.
finally saw Road Warrior for the first time. Came into it really late. Instantly, one of my, classic action movie, just
So
badass.
good.
Yeah.
Goes up there the pantheon of most epic action movies of all time. Like T2 is another one that comes to mind. What else would you lump in that fake, useless list of epic action movies?
I mean, Die
worth
Hard.
living on? Die Hard, absolutely.
That's like
Die Hard,
Yeah, you're
Die
right.
Hard, Predator.
Die
Die
Hard,
Hard,
Predator,
Predator.
Mad Max,
T2.
T2.
These are all bread and butter.
Yeah, those quintessential action movies that should
Matrix.
live on
Matrix
in
is a
eternity.
huge deal for me.
Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny you bring up the Matrix because the feeling I got in watching Fury Road was very similar to that level of excitement and wonder and awe
Yeah.
that I had watching The Matrix. I haven't had since, by the way. That's why I bring that up. I haven't been that just completely engulfed and whisked away into a fully immersive world and then just had my face fucking rocked since The Matrix.
It was like getting off of a roller coaster. Like I was just jittery
It was,
and just everything was pumping. I was just like that. I was just so excited. It was one of the coolest things I felt like I'd ever been a part of. Mm-hmm. And it was a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it was awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah, compared to like the other big hit this summer, The Avengers, like that movie, it's so overstuffed and it's all about the banter. That was like when the movie truly came alive for me. It was like when they're doing their witty banter because that's Joss Whedon's strong suit. But when it came to like the action, it was always just computer generated and just like the
Feels like it was
yeah,
you're just watching like fully polished animatics.
yeah.
I don't know. There were moments there were flourishes that were really
Oh, for sure, yeah, yeah.
spectacular. You know,
Yeah, but
you want
like
to give credit where credit is due. But God, it was
this-
like 2 weeks ago we were talking about how that movie was a total blast, and now coming out of Mad Max Fury Road, it's like the game has changed. A new bar is set.
I don't know if this movie Mad Max will ever be matched again in terms of just
That's
the
what it
sheer
truly
amount of
feels like,
practical
right?
effects and the amount of vehicles they use. Like I don't know if that'll ever happen again.
well, it's just like it was
I
just
don't think it will.
it's so
to that
rare
extent.
that like a movie, an action film, like action is typically it's like considered the more base of the different film genres. You know, it's not like no one's expecting great art from an action film, but this was literally
I don't know about
firing-
no one. I think that's very absolute, but I know what you're saying.
Oh, just-
I feel like from a critical
in terms of like
standpoint,
what's going to win Best Picture. Usually people aren't
Sure.
going to like
Yeah.
think first thing,
as
but
far
like
as
this.
accolades are concerned. But then again, to cite exceptions to that rule, you got films like T2 win a bunch of Oscars, or your Lord of the Rings films, which
Yeah.
Yeah.
are more fantasy, but the Return of the King is definitely
It's sweet.
high action, and that
Yeah,
pulled in like
no,
9
it
Oscars.
has great action in it, but this was literally like there was minimal dialogue. It was like poetry in motion.
Purest
you know what I mean?
form of cinema. We could have watched that with absolutely no dialogue, and that Miller cites that as one of his goals. His prime directive was, aside from making an entertaining picture, it was to make a movie that could be watched in any country in any language, and everyone gets what's happening every step of the way. Just pure cinema. But I wanted to ask you guys, being fans of Mad Max and having seen all the films, Benji, have you seen all the films?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where does this movie fit in the franchise for you? Because there's a lot of debate over this being a sequel or a reboot, or fitting between, say, Road Warrior and Thunderdome. Like, how do you view this in the chronology?
I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
Like where it came in the line. It's just
I don't
that
even
good.
really.
It doesn't
yeah,
matter.
I think
see
that's
it
a great
as
answer, right?
Standalone thing.
It's,
Yeah.
blo-
I mean,
it's,
like,
it's
like-
blown.
Yeah.
It's blown them out of the water.
Yes.
I tried going back to the. I was like watching the old ones, like after seeing this, and I just couldn't sit still. I just kept thinking. I was like, I just want to go back to the theater and just watch that one again because these don't even compare.
It kind of had this. It reminded me a lot of the Evil Dead franchise in a way. Like Sam Raimi kind of just got to remake his movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Evil Dead was just him experimenting and he refined it and told the similar story with the same characters. And I feel like that's what we got with Fury Road. It took all the best bits from the franchise and just built off of that. And he spent 12 years, they said,
Yeah, pre-production started like 12 years ago.
in his head, and then
Like one of the things we were just talking about yesterday or the day before is how you mentioned, and you're so spot on, every single thing, at least set design wise and wardrobe, like although it's amazing and everything's so cool looking, everything had such a good, there was a reason for every single thing. Like every weapon a car had made sense. It wasn't just to look cool.
They had
it had a
backstories for the
practical
cars.
Yeah,
they
like
had
it had
backstory
backstories.
for.
Yeah.
Apparently, they spent 12 years crafting a backstory for every little piece of not only the
Yeah.
car, but like what was dangling from the mirror. Every car had its own mirror tchotchke, and there was a whole story about like whose car it was and the person who drives the car and where they got the tchotchke and what the tchotchke means to them, and like it's just the level of detail. And watching it a second time, it was equally as impressive as the first, but you really start to pick up on all those little bits.
Yeah.
I feel the replay, the rewatch value on that thing is just sky high.
Very high.
Yeah, and you just rarely get like something on that scale for an R-rated audience. Like they're not trying to sell toys to kids with this movie. They just want to give you an incredible, adult experience. And it deals with really heavy, like twisted themes. I mean, they're like the central MacGuffin in this movie are like essentially sex slaves.
Yeah, no, they that's exactly what they are.
But it's treated with such maturity and grandeur that it doesn't despite how twisted and disgusting the majority of the characters that populate this world are, like it feels just majestic and completely just mature, and
It's a very feminist action film.
yeah.
The women in that movie are more badass than Max or anyone else.
Yeah.
One of the greatest female, awesome badass characters of all time. Like up there
Oh,
with like,
Charlize
Ripley.
Theron, it's totally
she's an ass kicker.
I don't know if I would say it's her movie. I feel like it's a dual effort. Like
Yeah,
the title card.
Yeah.
Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy
Yeah.
as Max
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Imperator Furiosa.
Yeah.
'cause it's a buddy picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we had some of our coworkers are pretty outspoken feminists and like who are usually first to speak up when they see something like that isn't right in a film, and they were just glowing after this film, and that's so rare to see. Someone actually captures that feminist spirit accurately.
Would you guys be interested in seeing a movie, say a sequel, like a spin-off that just focuses on Furiosa?
Absolutely.
And the
That
next
would be
chapter of
great.
her story.
Oh yeah, that's
I'd
so
love
awesome,
to know where
right?
they took her character.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of reminds me
I'd
of
be
just like
first on there.
like Sigourney Weaver in Aliens, Or,
Yeah.
Like in the next one, she doesn't have both her arms are gone.
No, I don't mean
two
I don't-
robot arms. Yeah, dude.
Sure, why not? Linda Hamilton, the Terminator franchise. Just a badass female character. All the female characters, those old women, the little old lady with the bag of seeds.
They were so
talks about how
sweet.
she's killed everyone she's ever met with a headshot.
Yeah.
And she has so much pride. She doesn't want anyone to know that she's injured. She covers up her wound and she sits there quietly and stoically and she just reaches for a little bag of seeds and it's just leave me alone. I'm just gonna enjoy the landscape. Fucking awesome. That woman who's I don't know her character name, but she was the nude woman who was bait.
Yeah.
Up on top of the thing. She climbs down the rope, and then she gets that really rad moment during the final action scene where she, her motorcycle
Spoiler
explodes.
alert.
Yeah.
They should know by now.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, you're really screwing this up. But she just takes all those rad shots with that sniper rifle.
Yeah.
She gets, 15 seconds of screen time? That's more badass than most of the action stars we've seen all year.
All of the Scarlet Witch moments and Avengers combined. These
I do not disagree. Favorite moments. Pick one. Can you narrow it down to one?
My favorite moment was when I realized I was only 10 minutes into the movie. Honestly, it was after the first really big action moment, which I mean pretty much is the whole damn movie, but 10 minutes in, something really rad happens just from start to finish, and then I remember looking at you and I was like, this thing just started.
It just started.
I started laughing and I was like, holy shit, this just started. And all of that just happened. I cannot fucking wait.
It's like
to
the
see what else
climax
goes down.
of the other most awesome action movie you've ever seen.
Yeah, and
the
it was
first
just
act.
the beginning. And I was like, this is going to be. I just knew. I was like, this is going to be the coolest thing I've ever seen. That just happened, and I'm 10 minutes in. What on earth could happen now?
Yeah. For me, I think my favorite part is what's really, especially in action films, if you make a great villain, it's like, well, how are you going to kill him? My favorite action movies have great bad guy deaths. Yeah. And this bad guy death was exceptional.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
It was a great bad guy death. And I can't stress that enough, how satisfied I was with that bad guy death.
This is if I'm not mistaken, this is the first Mad Max film, and I'm just going off of a really hazy memory here, a recollection of the previous three films. I think this is the first Mad Max film where one of the heroes of the stories actually physically takes out the villain by their own hand.
As opposed to a car.
As opposed to the villain's own hubris being their own undoing. There's a lot of accidents that happen, especially in the first two films that take out the villain. This is the first time you really get that fist pumping moment.
Yeah,
where they take the guy out. How would you? Speaking of villains, how would you rank your Mad Max villains? Is there any contention? Because I know exactly where I
can't. Des, you keep trying to bring these other Mad Max films into it. They don't hold a candle to this one.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that how you feel?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're always going to think that, or are you going to go back and be able to enjoy Road Warrior after this?
No, I tried. I tried watching Road Warrior after it.
Maybe it's too soon.
It cannot compare. No, the pace of it. It was a different time. The people are harder to. It's harder to keep people's attention now, and this movie knew that.
Yeah.
And every frame was jam packed with detail and action, or incredibly intense performances. Like even Tom Hardy, the intensity he brings to the role is exponentially higher than what Mel Gibson's just kind of half grinny. He's Mel Gibson just has cocky swagger with Max. He actually Tom Hardy lives up to the title of Mad Max. He's mad. He's crazy.
Yeah.
And he's getting this twitchy.
Someone made a joke that this new Mad Max isn't very angry. It's no, it's not called Angry Max.
Yeah.
It's called Mad Max. Mad as in he's losing his mind.
Yeah.
Because he's by himself in the wastelands for God knows how long now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And a guy fighting all of his own demons. It's just awesome.
Muttering and twitching and he can't even he's not even as good a fighter as Imperator because he's so haunted by his demons and that one of my favorite moments was when they have that fist fight together. That was
when he's chained.
The whole thing's
Nux.
the whole thing's filled with car chase, but the fist fight they have is one of the best fist fights I've ever seen.
That's why I feel
awesome.
that's a way to do a sequel, right? I feel like you can't top the car action. At least not until some sort of new technology. It can advance stunts and whatnot. I don't know. I feel
which the greatest part of the actual car stuff was the pole scene
Polecats.
And you were telling me they had to kind of invent a new technology for poles or whatever in order to do that. Didn't they?
Yeah, I read an article somewhere that when they were storyboarding the film, and they're in pre-production, the decision was we can affix poles to the tops of cars and we can have guys rigged up there. But then when it comes down to the actual sequence where the poles are dipping down and the guys are grabbing people out of the cars, it's physically impossible. We don't have any technology that would allow us to do that. It's very dangerous, and we don't want people getting wrapped up under vehicle tires and stuff. So we're just going to shoot all that pole sequence against green screen, and we'll comp all that in. And then, the famous story is the Australian valley where they were going to film got rained out. They had like the rain of the century, and it turned into these fertile grasslands, and they shut down production for a year waiting for it to dry up, which never happened. So they moved to Africa, Namibia, where they filmed. They ended up filming, and during the course of that year, while production was shut down, all the stunt riggers, were just tinkered in their workshops, and just devised a way to actually shoot that safely and physically. So now you get something that wouldn't have otherwise happened if not for the extreme circumstances of that production. Like that, coupled with the 12 years it took to get that film off the ground, and then the 3 or 4 they were in production when they kept having false starts and they were going through, trouble with getting Mel Gibson and the fallout in his career and recasting with Heath Ledger and then recasting again, like the guy just had all that time.
Yep.
Well, he almost made a fucking Justice League movie,
right?
which would have sucked.
Do you want to see it?
Oh my God.
Are you curious to see
compared to this movie,
a Miller Justice League movie
Oh,
now?
actually, I mean,
No.
he would have made it
George
awesome.
Miller's is too good to do.
He would have made it
superhero
awesome.
movies.
And you know who's
I wish
supposed to
he
be
just-
one
You're
of
not curious? Okay, let me propose a hypothetical scenario for
Okay.
you. He still gets to make his next 2 Mad Max movies, unencumbered, and in addition to, he has the opportunity to bring you a Justice League movie. Would you be interested in seeing that?
I mean, if someone was going to make a Justice League movie, I'd say George Miller is one of the greatest action directors of all time, and yet it would be a dope movie. But I'd rather he devote all of his attention towards the world he's already made, which is what I think is this Mad Max movie. If you combined every superhero movie ever made, it doesn't add up to this Mad Max film. That's my opinion.
It's pretty friggin' hard to beat, man.
'Cause
It's a
I
perfect
don't-
movie.
It's.
Is there anyone who doesn't like it? Have you talked to anyone who's like, man, I don't
No,
know.
I haven't met that person yet.
I don't want to.
Do you want to know that person?
Yeah, I mean, I just.
I mean, there was at least one rotten review on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh yeah,
right?
there's 4.
There's 4 now.
Yeah.
Do you know what they are? I want to look them up actually.
There's 4.
Find these kids.
But dude, I don't think you guys even realized it. But when we all sat in like one row.
We
Like
filled up. Where
filled
were
like
we?
a
We were
row.
at the AMC in Burbank,
Yeah.
right?
You guys were all there opening night.
And we were all
huge theater.
jazzed, and we were all like
Yeah.
making noise when awesome stuff was happening. But there was this guy like right in front of me who was livid that we were
so amped.
we were doing the woos and the claps.
We were pretty loud, but we
he
were just
kept-
having a ball. It was like
no,
we were
but
on a
he
roller
kept,
coaster.
like looking back
Quarter turns.
and glaring,
Giving you that
He'd
Seinfeld
do the
quarter
glare.
turn.
I feel bad, but I mean, I also don't.
Yeah.
It sounds like that guy is no.
That's my
no
favorite
joy
thing about going to the
in his
movies,
life.
especially opening weekend, is when it's packed and you can feel the energy of everyone else
we
around you.
ruined
Like,
one
if they
man's
like it, you know.
Mad Max movie going experience.
No,
He
well,
was-
you know what? No, we didn't ruin it. We
was-
prevented him from ruining it for us.
you go.
We did everything we could to make that the most awesome experience for him. Here we go. 2 hours of action scenes that are well crafted and entirely lacking in suspense, with some clever but fake-looking special effects. Okay. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want anyone seeking this guy out and beating him to a pulp.
Hint, hint.
No, I did not say that. Where are the other negative ones? I only see one.
Well, you have to pull up all that.
Yeah.
No suspense.
They're freeing
I mean,
sex
just
slaves.
The mud scene, like the mud scene alone.
The
Even that
bog.
was one of the like in terms of action, like that one. Like if we were not talking about explosions and sweet visuals, that was as suspenseful as it got when they were in the mud pits. That is, oh my God.
Every sequence, man.
And every sequence was different, and it was a car chase, there and back, and everything still just was so incredible and different and new, and done well.
I don't know. I'm looking for more negative reviews, and I just can't find them. I believe you that they're on here, But okay, wait, here we go. Plot, dialogue, intelligence, subtlety, suspense, wit, chemistry, and logic get tossed out the window in George Miller's fourth milking of this franchise.
Granted, that reviewer, there's a picture of him. It looks like he's on death's door, so he might be.
Maybe it's just not his movie. A mindless, expensive B movie that's more exhausting, tedious, and nauseating than exhilarating. Look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and I think it's fair to share a few negative reviews since we're over here just pumping this thing up as the second coming. But I don't know, man.
Oh, that reminds me.
Yeah.
Starting today,
Yeah.
and every month from today for the next 3 months, they're releasing prequel comics. So the one that just came out today is about the backstory for what's his name, Immortan Joe and Nux. You have to find out how they came to be.
That's very cool.
And then next month they're gonna talk about Furiosa and
now here,
the brides.
all right, now I want to ask you this question, right? Because here's what I'm thinking. I've been thinking about, God, I love this movie, and not only do I want to watch it all the time forever, but I want sequels, right? But what do I want to see in these sequels? Do I want them to explore these characters' backstories? Do I want to go see Gastown? Do I want to go visit, the Bullet Farm and all that stuff? And although that all sounds super fun and good, I am totally content with how perfect and singular that film is. And I almost don't want anyone's backstories spoiled for me in any other medium, because I find so much joy out of crafting all of that in my own mind. You know? It's he's put this work out there into the public, and you get to fill in the blanks. You through production design and art direction and Immortan Joe's performance, you fill in what you think his backstory is, and I feel like that's whatever you come up with would be way cooler than any graphic novel. That's my own opinion.
This is where you and I differ.
Yeah. You just want it all, and you need all the
Well,
answers.
dude, if it's fan fiction, I'm not gonna read it. But if it's coming from the guy himself, I want to know what he thinks is the backstory. You didn't like they deeply explore Mike's backstory in Better Call Saul,
right?
And you just wanted to preserve your fantasy of him from Breaking Bad because they had minimal backstory in that. But I thought that was like the high point, was like I get to finally find out why the hell this guy is, after years of imagining, I get to finally find out,
You get some closure on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I get the your interest there.
And for you were like, well, now that just ruins it for me. Every time I'm going to rewatch Breaking Bad. Speaking of, Jake sprung a leak. We're up to our necks in boba right now, boba tea.
The boba balls are so good.
I don't know if I'll go back and retract my statement. I won't say it ruined it.
Yeah.
Because Breaking Bad is its own thing, But that's kind of what I'm saying right now. That's you and I just have a difference of opinion there, and that's totally cool.
I get both sides. But I like the mystery, especially if we're talking about like Mike. I think he's scarier not knowing.
You just know something happened. You don't know what it is, right?
Knowing that he's become that, like it's scarier.
I'll cite a specific example in Fury Road. Max, they're in the bog. Max walks off with the can of gas and the gun and the grenades.
Oh, God.
And Furiosa says, what if you don't come back in 15 minutes? He says, well, then you just keep going, of course. And he walks off into the dark of night, disappears in the mist, and you just see this you hear this loud screeching twist of metal, and you see this explosion. And moments later, Max reemerges from the mist, and you didn't see what happened to the Bullet Farmer. You can only infer from the way he looks and knowing what you know of that character, Max Rocketansky. And is that not way cooler?
I thought that was amazing.
Than seeing him blow the guy up? Like, at least having that one moment where, because the rest of the movie is 2 straight hours of nonstop action, getting one moment where you get to imagine what that awesome scene was.
Sure, but I also would have loved to see him blow him up too.
Sure, that's fair.
In
a perfect world, you can have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll do a graphic novel in that moment. Just how Max blew those guys away.
Dude, yes, frame by frame, just every bloody detail.
Yeah. Okay, I want you guys. All right, so it's not that you refuse to rank the Mad Max films, but you said unequivocally the other ones do not matter.
I mean, they are great for the history of cinema.
Okay, I wanna
but in
make sure
terms
this
of
is going on record.
Someone alive right now in this
Yeah.
moment, don't even bother to watch those ones. Just see this one and then see it again and again and again.
I mean, I can't argue. I can't argue. I mean, you should go see them because they're also awesome. But I mean, this is.
If you
If you're
only
not gonna go home and watch T2, go watch this.
sure,
Right
if
now,
you only,
I
this
feel
is a desert island movie. If you only got to take one Mad Max
you
movie
take-
with you,
yep.
I don't think there's
Or
any
just any
debate
movie.
that this is the one you
Take this. Any
yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Okay. Who's your favorite Max? In all 4 films, any version of Max, since they're all slightly different versions of the same character.
I like this one.
I think I think this is my favorite one, Tom
Yeah.
Hardy's. But then I mean, Road Warrior would be
Tom Hardy's great. I do.
close second.
It's.
I like
I'll
Gibson.
can I say tie? Because
Yeah.
I love Gibson and Gibson with the dog.
No, the dog is
The
incredible.
Gibson and dog
Yeah.
dynamic is pretty friggin' awesome, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just blazing through these rank lists now. Morton Joe favorites, right?
Yeah.
You're all in agreement.
Clearly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so rank the rest. Rank the other 3 Mad Max supervillains.
Just walk away.
Yeah.
Jake, you-
second. Yeah, that's what's his name?
Humongous.
The Humongous?
The humongous.
Humongous from Road Warrior is your
Yeah.
is your number 2.
Yeah, well, it's not fucking Tina Turner. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, where do you put her? Does she get 3rd place or 4th? Or
Fourth.
yeah, and then you'll go with Toe Cutter.
Toe Cutter. Yeah. Who?
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen the entirety of the first one, but
He's got this really cool moment.
Yeah,
where
no,
he's like walking away from this guy, and he spins around really
Yeah, he
quick.
put
and
his
grabs
hands on
his
his
shoulders.
face.
He goes, "Remember,
Yeah.
the night, Roider." And you're like, okay, this guy's really cool. He's got a lot of charisma.
Yeah.
I would actually put him as number 2.
yeah.
As much as I love the Humongous, the Humongous is kind of a dipshit
Humongous is just more quotable.
compared to
in my
Toe
We do
Cutter.
this my way.
We're my way. He's an idiot. Toe Cutter's pretty great. He's more maniacal, and I feel like he's capable of far more sinister things.
He's definitely the craziest of all of them.
Yeah.
Like he's a total psycho. in the
Tina
original
Turner,
one.
Tina Turner. She runner up, 4th runner up.
He's a great singer.
Sure.
Not the best Mad Max film.
Humongous's biker guy with the mohawk and his
Oh, he's
weird
great, too.
So is he
man
the
slave.
best Slacky? You know, how would you rank the villain sidekick?
Well, the other humongous guy, the new Mad Max,
Erectus?
Erectus, he
Rectus,
was
yeah.
great.
Rectus is great.
He's a wrestler,
I would
right?
put the Mohawk guy. I'd put Wes, the Mohawk guy from Road Warrior.
He was
at the
great.
top of my list, though. He was pretty awesome. He can't be beat. Him with his boy slave,
Yeah, his boy slave that gets killed by the wildling
the wildling with the
with the boomerang.
boomerang. Good stuff,
It is. It's what a sweet franchise.
right? What did you guys?
I mean, I don't think I really gave it enough credit for just how sweet it is.
did you expect this
know?
when you heard that they were bringing back Mad Max? Were you just like, what? Another remake? Or are you guys excited?
I was really excited.
Yeah,
When I knew Tom Hardy was going to be Mad Max, I was
Yeah.
like, that's a great call.
It was-
he was awesome, man. Actually, there are a lot of people on the internet who are afraid to go see the movie because they don't want to see a version of Max without.
No, I mean, I
Without
get
an
the fear,
anti-Semite?
but it's okay.
Yeah.
Take the plunge. Go for it.
That men's right group who thought it was like feminist
Just the start
propaganda.
of that right there.
Weird, man. Weird. Okay, so before we wrap this up, if you guys got to do your own Mad Max sequel, if you got to pitch your version to George Miller, do you have any thoughts? Where would you take the franchise? Where do you want to see it go? You know? Like, what would be your pitch to top that nonstop vehicular mayhem that you just experienced?
I'd say let's take it to the sky, George. What about blimps?
Blimps?
and
Air vehicles?
Air vehicles.
Yeah,
Can we do some
because we already
stuff
know
in the air?
we've established, that there are helicopters, self-made helicopters.
Can we get some high, cool flying vehicle action?
Yeah, I read that there were supposed to be hovercraft
What?
in this film. The boys.
Oh
in,
yeah, that could be cool.
Gastown, I think it is, have hovercrafts, but we ended up not seeing them. So maybe we'll get some hovercrafts. Aerial battles would be pretty rad.
Explore the ocean. Maybe where's the ocean? What's that like?
Yeah, would that just become Waterworld though?
It could, but Waterworld in theory should have been very cool.
Yeah.
It is really cool. Movie rocks.
John, what's your pitch? Where do you want to see it go,
the
at
original.
least?
Well, I think it'd be kind of cool to bring it. Like the original Mad Max, it takes place like in the countryside. There's no desert really. He takes off for the desert at the end, and
Right.
But even though the apocalypse has kind of already happened, Law and Order have kind of disbanded. There's still some like on the countryside. There are still like people trying to
It's
maintain
like
order.
civilization hasn't completely crumbled yet. I mean, there's a guy and a girl. There's like a couple eating ice cream.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
there's
like
there's,
ice
there's,
cream,
there's
some-
restaurants.
yeah.
Remember there's a restaurant with a sign that says like, if you can smell it, we don't serve it. You know,
Yeah.
like there's this weird alternate take on actual like organized society. So I like to imagine that like all that stuff in the desert is going on while meanwhile in the countryside.
Society, there's some parts of some vestiges of society still trying to hold it together.
Yeah, so
there
the-
are fan theories that Max just chooses to live out there with the
Exactly.
maniacs.
Yeah.
When he could go back
When his wife and kid
to the
die, he takes
countryside,
off. Yeah. So
which is really interesting.
So I'd like to see like there's probably some parts of society that are less barbaric,
Yeah.
but it's probably messed up for completely different reasons, you know. So I'd like to see like Max essentially bring that kind of mayhem to a different kind of twisted society that's not this barbaric warlord.
Yeah.
It kind of very much reminded me of like African warlords. I think that's what they're kind of going for with this, like just a different, maybe I hate to bring up a different post-apocalyptic movie. It's not the greatest movie, but it has
Doomsday.
interesting ideas. I have not seen that. I was going to refer to.
I brought it up as a joke. Wouldn't that be a great double feature? Doomsday and Fury Road.
I still have not seen
It's
that.
not great. It's not great. It's got a couple of moments that are worth checking out.
You remember Land of the Dead?
Yeah.
Is that the one with Nick Nolte? Not Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte?
No, not Nick Nolte.
What are you talking about?
Dennis Hopper, yeah.
No, I would totally watch a Nick Nolte zombie movie.
Yeah.
A George Romero zombie movie.
Yeah.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
No,
But, yeah, I saw Land of the Dead.
Yeah, where I mean, again, it's a pretty cheesy, not the best movie, but there's interesting ideas behind it. How like it's this enclave where it's like
There are resources being hoarded in a skyscraper. Where
Yeah.
people, the elite, the super wealthy, are trying to hold it together. And I read that George Miller, I don't know if this actually works its way into the fabric of the film. It's definitely not in the text of the film itself, but in his backstory for Immortan Joe, he actually has access to an old shopping complex, like a huge mall that's been covered up by dust that's stocked full of supplies, which is where he can go and get a lot of extra things he needs to run a society. I don't know. That was part of the original planning. I don't know if I would technically say that doesn't really come across in the text of the film itself, but I could totally see something like that happening, right? I don't know. Me personally, I want to see. I'd be down to see another Furiosa movie, but since I feel like we did just get that, I would love to see a straight-on new Mad Max film and watch him go off into the wastes. See him try to find a new ride, put a new car back together. A new V8 Interceptor, and
He gets a dog.
Get a new dog and see where he goes. Yeah,
I want to see what Bold Town's all about.
you want to go visit Bold Town?
That name, just
Gastown,
the imagination,
Bullet Town.
and just what that fortress could be like, and trying to get through the walls or getting inside, or I mean, even just driving past it. I just want to look at it. That's all I want.
Well, there's an art book that's I think on Amazon now. I don't know if it's definitely available for pre-order if it's not yet shipping, but it is like a hardcover art book. All the art direction, collected over 12 years. The design
That's awesome.
of
That's really
Fury
cool.
Road. Yeah, I was checking some stuff. You should see, there's a lot of really cool stuff in there that didn't make it
That sounds awesome.
into the film. Yeah.
Yeah, those cars were amazing. Like the one's a tank, but it has the shell of a car, and then like even there's like
Yeah.
there's shells of cars on
On top of
on
it.
the truck, the giant huge 18-wheeler or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
and I love that Immortan Joe is so obsessed with procreation that his car looks like it's fucking another car.
Oh, that's
he's
funny,
got like
yeah.
he's got like one chassis
yeah, it's
riding up
right in the
behind
back.
another
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I don't know, just
Yeah.
like nice little. Everything comes down to character, right?
Yep.
Anyway, I would also recommend the soundtrack. You
Yep.
guys haven't downloaded the soundtrack yet? It's
Yeah.
just friggin' rad, man.
Awesome.
Cruising down the 101, listening to that thing, I feel like I'm in my own war rig.
Like that'd be dangerous. If you had like a Hummer and you were blasting that, you would run some shit over. There'd be no way to not. I would.
there's also a great George Miller interview on this podcast called Happy, Sad, Confused.
Okay.
It's like an hour long, and definitely recommend checking it out if you want to hear Wise words from the man himself.
I think he also just did a separate exclusive interview with Fandango.
Fandango.
Getting the
Bringing out the big guns.
Getting the scoops with GM. Anyway, we should wrap it up because we could gush about
We
this
could
all
go
day,
forever.
but
We're
I
already
feel like
going
we're going
over
to
it,
start repeating ourselves here. I would rather go watch it again than sit here and talk about
Yeah, I
it.
gotta go.
Let's go right now.
Maybe we'll do that.
3D?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
I have not yet seen it in 3D, so let's do it.
That's true.
Also want to see it in black and white. George Miller says the best way to watch this film is in black and white. Sounds
Okay.
like interesting. Jake's not having it.
Maybe George. I don't know. We'll see.
Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Where can people follow you if they want to do so on the tweets verse and the Grandsville and all that?
At Ruby Dog Movies.
Yeah.
Jake is always on it. It's amazing.
I don't. You handle our social. You're the social media manager.
You abstain?
Or no?
What? You're
no,
giving away your email? Don't do that.
No.
Jake just labeled off his Gmail. We'll
fuck.
have to bleep that.
Why would
You know
anyone
what? I don't want anyone to follow me.
I mean,
for any-
granted, there are probably some people who want
I don't-
your
I'm not a
Gmail.
very- interesting.
Jake, much like Max Rocketansky, is going to disappear back into the waste. He doesn't want anyone following him. Benji, where are you at?
Benji_Dolly. Oh
And
my
I'm at
gosh.
Des Dolly. Thank you guys for spending another hour talking about Mad Max.
Thanks, yo. Oh yeah.
Doing more than anything else.
Of course.
Wait, before we go,
Yeah.
Jake, do your Immortan Joe impression.
Man, that was a spot check.
What
Yeah, I
was
got to
it?
go
It
to
was I feel like I'm gonna do it so shit.
Right? Exactly. He threw you so hard on
I
this
know.
spot.
Yeah.
Man.
Just say it.
There we go. No, come on. You got to say the line.
Isn't that how I do
Wow.
it? Your favorite line. You
It's
say
his
it all.
impression. He knows it.
property. That?
Yeah.
Is that what you wanted, Joe?
that-
I
is
wanted.
that
What I
it?
wanted. I watched
My favorite Immortan Joe line in the whole movie.
Mediocre.
Anyway, on that note, thank you guys for joining us for another podcast. Subscribe. Leave your comments below. We'll answer your questions on the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't.
Anyway, we'll see you at the movies. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye, y'all.